Before we get into the show, guys, remember this podcast posts each and every single Sunday and or Monday, depending on what's going on in my life. But today it will be posted. I guess you probably most likely will be listening to this Monday morning or sometime Monday, but it will be posting Sunday. So let's get into the show. Obviously, we start off the show with the box score. And if you guys can support the content anyway, you know the drill. Just go check out the channel. We got a bunch of Dolphins content on there if you enjoy it. So let's start with the offense. And again, we're getting into the box score. Obviously, the final score of this game is 21-32. The Detroit Lions over us. It's one of the most embarrassing home losses. I'm trying to think of all the home losses that we've had since Adam has been here. I know Tennessee was pretty bad. I'm trying to think. I mean, other than like obviously 2017, and we got swept by the Bills. So there've been some not so good ones, but this one was really bad. So let's start with the secondary. Stafford went 18 for 22. Oh my god, dude, 18 for 22. 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. You would think he would have had more yards in this game. If you guys hear a bunch of sound, those are my pugs in the background. They're right next to me, actually, so that's probably going to be annoying. But I apologize for that. But anyway, yeah, he only missed. I mean, that is ridiculous. 18 for 22. And again, like I just said, you would think you would have more yards. The way that offense was just literally, I think we forced one punt, and it was lucky that it was on 3rd and 1, and they passed the ball. If they just turned around and handed it off, they would have easily gotten it. So our defense played terrible the entire game. They did not show up. But let's focus on the secondary for right now. Obviously, like I just said, Stafford 18 for 22, 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. Receiving wise, Roberts. It's not Michael Roberts, is it? It's not Andre Roberts. I don't know. Roberts finished with the tight end. 3 catches for 48 yards. Kenny Galladay 2 catches for 32. Golden Tate 4 catches for 36. Marvin Jones 3 catches for 29. Kerryon Johnson 2 catches for 21. Amir Abdullah 1 catch for 12. Luke Wilson 2 catches for 8. So I mean, if I read that stat to you before you watched the game, I mean, other than Stafford's ridiculous completion percentage, if I read you all of the receivers, I mean, other than the tight end getting 3 catches for 48 yards, he had 2 touchdowns, by the way. You would think, okay, that was pretty good. I would take that going up against Matthew Stafford. You wouldn't really expect him to score 32 points with that kind of a stat line, especially when you talk about the Lions' offense. But unfortunately, the D-line didn't want to show up, and neither did the entire defense, for that matter. And then that's really what happened in this game. But the secondary, I really feel like the biggest plays that they gave up were ridiculously bad calls, in my opinion. I do not think. I mean, I don't know how many times we have to say it, and I've said this for 2 years now since Matt Burke has been here. The thing is that this defense is not good at, and Rashad Jones isn't good at, Kiko Alonso's not good at. This defense in general isn't good at, especially since we have a lot of young players. You talk about Jerome Baker, Raekwon McMillan, in very important positions on the defense. And the D-line's pretty young too now because of all the injuries. And also we have 2 second-year. Most of our DTs are super young, other than Akeem Spence. This defense doesn't have a lot of. Most of them do not have a lot of football under their belt, especially since we've had to deal with these injuries. And for some reason, this secondary is in. And I don't know if I blame it on Matt Burke because he should know by now. But this defense is its inability. Every time we get caught, every time we blitz, dude. Think about it. The Chicago touchdown, we blitzed. I can think of so many from 2017 that I don't even want to name right now. You think about in this game when we blitzed, Golden Tate dropped a wide open touchdown. It should have been a touchdown. It should have been an easy walk-in touchdown, but Golden Tate dropped it. Anytime we play zone, anytime Matt calls a zone coverage, anything, something terrible happens. The thing I think the defense we're best at running is single high safety, cover one robber in the middle of the field. I mean, that's where most of our interceptions have come from. Anytime we run cover one or any kind of man coverage, if we man blitz, I guarantee you, 0-man heat, we would be way more effective on some of these plays. But he wants to throw in these exotic zone blitz schemes and this complicated stuff. This defense is just not good at running them. I think there was a corner out to set them up on like the 3 or 4 yard line. I can't remember. I think that was the LeGarrette Blount touchdown to go up 17-7 at that point. But to set it up was a corner out. All of that was zone. All of the big plays in the passing game, all of those chunk yards, all of when I don't even know if it was a double move. I think he just ran up the seam on a Tampa 2, ran right past the cloud fat. 2 people took the same flat route. Like, there's no communication on this defense. They're not smart enough to run it. Nobody wants to take the mantle to have communication in the secondary. Hopefully Minkah Fitzpatrick grows into that kind, because he needs to. He's the smartest person on that defense, and he just got here. And that's not even close. He's super intelligent. He covers his man. And the thing that's super frustrating is we have exceptional man cover corners on this team. Exceptional man cover corners on this team. When you think about Bobby McCain, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Xavier Howard in the game, the season that he's having, and you look at the score and you think, oh man, the receivers must have went off. Especially this Lions offense and its inability to run the football has hurt them for many years now. Obviously, they have been improved in that area, and that's been a point of emphasis this particular season for them since Matt Patricia's got there. That doesn't matter. We're too good to have that happen to us. We have a lot of, and I'm getting off track here into the D-line, focusing on the secondary. The receivers didn't really go off. We got beat mentally. We didn't get beat physically in the secondary. All the big plays we gave up was mental errors. And it continues to plague this defense. And like I said, there's nobody on this defense. We have too many really good veteran players on this team. Kiko Alonso was having one heck of a season. There were times in this game where he was trying to get people set. And I understand that he recognized that there were issues, like the bootleg touchdown in the first drive of the game for the Lions. Or maybe it was the second one. I'm pretty sure. No, it was the first. They only punted once. He was trying to get everybody set. And obviously that didn't work. I'm pretty sure on that corner out, he was trying to do the same thing. Didn't work. It's a problem, dude. And Matt has to know his personnel. And if I notice it, it doesn't take a genius, a football genius, to notice that kind of stuff. It just keeps happening over and over again. There's just too many busted coverages when we run zone and zone blitz schemes. We are terrible at it. And that comes down to coaching, to be honest with you. If it's that big a part of your game plan, you would think your players would be prepared for it when it comes to game time. How young or not, they should all be at least in where they should be and lined up where they should be and execute their assignments. Clearly, that's not happening. So that's on Matt. Sorry, I've been burping constantly. But that's on Matt. And he has to know his personnel. And again, I was watching. And I'm not comparing our defense to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But if you've watched the Jaguars in this losing streak that they've had, they've been so conservative with all of that talent on there. If I was the Jaguars defensive coordinator, there's no way I'm out of man coverage. At all. Okay? I would be zero cover blitzing the entire game, just like the Jets do. And the Jets are the Jets with that roster. And they do it almost every single down, dude. Because they're an aggressive defense. Imagine if the Jaguars did that. It would be so difficult to move the ball on them. If you want to blitz, Matt, just tell them to put a hat on a hat. It's easy to follow. You've got him, I've got him. That's what Bill Belichick does up there in New England. That's what Matt Patricia does in Detroit. Put a hat on a hat. And they have nowhere near the talent that we have in the secondary. Think about our 2 safeties. Think about our 3 corners. We could take your 3 best receivers out of the game if we wanted to. And we did. None of them had big games. And we still lose 32-21. That is such a stupid... Football sometimes isn't this chess game. Listen, it is when you're playing at the highest level in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And in big games, big divisional games. I mean, yes, football is... It does take a lot of intelligence to guess and game plan what your opponent does on every single play. And some people are really good at it and some people aren't. And that's why we have all these legendary coaches that are so good at calling games. That's why you have a Wade Phillips. That's why you have a Bill Belichick. That's why you have Matt Patricia, who's been good at calling games for his entire career. Sean McVay up in Los Angeles. So there is that element to the game. I'm not saying that. But Matt Burke has to understand he has talented secondary players. Sometimes it's just, let's play, hey, line up from that guy and beat him. Now we can sit here and watch film, and I can tell you what they like to do, what we're gonna take away, what you have to be prepared for. And we're just too good enough. We are super talented when it comes to that. We have the talent to do it. I just don't understand why we have to mix in all this complicated stuff. I really don't. Not that a cover 2 is complicated. Not that a cover 3 is complicated. Not that a cover 4 or cover 6 is complicated. But for some reason, this secondary, you just cannot do it. Whether that's youth, bad coaching, bad preparation, I don't know. But for the last 2 years, since Matt has been here, and even when Vance Joseph was here, and that's something that they struggled down in Denver with as well, even though they have a talented roster down there. It was very frustrating to give up a 4th and 18 on a busted coverage, or not a 4th and 18. I don't know what I'm talking about. It was like a 1st and 20. It was something crazy. It was a long down and distance on penalties, and that happened twice in this game, by the way. One was to set up a touchdown, which is really disturbing. Well, both were, actually. All right, let's talk about the defensive line, which just played god-awful. God-awful. Again, the secondary, if you think about it, did not play that bad. I just thought it was just bad coaching and bad play calling and bad preparation, bad everything. Again, we got beat mentally in the secondary, not physically, in my opinion. So this is how the D-line performed. Kerryon Johnson finished with 19 carries for 158 yards, averaged 8 yards a touch. LeGarrette Blount finished with 10 carries for 50 yards, averaged 5 yards a touch. Golden Tate had 1 carry for 30. Stafford 4 carries for 9. Amir Abdullah 1 carry for 1. I have been so disappointed in the defensive line all season long. I mean, it has been so bad. All year long, it has been very, very, very bad. Very bad. We cannot get pressure on anybody, dude. Dude, we are the little brother every time we play another offensive line, it seems like. You know, and it's not like, you know, even in the Chicago game, we were really hurt on the defensive line. I got it. I know we want a rotation. I know we've built the entire scheme off of that the entire offseason. I get it. I get it. But Robert Quinn is still playing. Andre Branch still played significant time in that Chicago Bears game. They played significant time in this game. Cameron Wake came back. He didn't do anything when he did play. I mean, it was, you know, there was a couple good moments here and there with Devon Godchaux. He blew up a little wham play on the 2-point conversion. But as my pug freaks out, I'm just as upset. But other than that, the defensive line has been utter garbage, dude. It is honest to God, like I said, we are the little brother. It seems like we get pushed around on the defensive line, especially when it comes to pass rush, every single time we play somebody, dude. And it's not like they're getting the ball. Like, you know, Andre Branch was talking about how we're pressuring, we're doing our job. I know the fans don't think we are. This was, I think, after the Bears game or before the Bears game. It's just saying the dumbest stuff he could possibly say. Like, it is honestly stupid. Did you watch the film, Andre, or was I the only one who was watching you get pushed around the entire game, for God's sakes? Play better. Don't make excuses and say that we're wrong. Like, it's honestly stupid. Like, if you don't think you're not doing your job, then there's something wrong with you. If you watch that Bears game, Trubisky, it was like, dude, he could have sat back there, did a, you know, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody handshake, sung the Hannah Montana song, stopped at Krispy Kreme, picked up some donuts, and then came back around and then threw a pass. That's how much time he had, dude. Stafford didn't even throw for that many yards. Obviously, it was because they got the running game going. That's what really killed us. And when they did pass, we forgot how to play football. Anytime, like I said, anytime somebody motions, it's like, oh my god, dude, Russia got the nuclear codes, dude. Everybody's running around like their hair's on fire. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. And that's bad. Listen, if Matt Burke in 2 years hasn't been able to get this team to successfully run his stupid blitzes and run his zone and run simple zone coverages, then guess what? You're not good at your job. You're not good at your job. You're just not. If you cannot get your defense to do what you're trying to teach them to do, then you're not. And if they can't do it, then play to their strengths. You know your personnel, dude. Be a defensive coordinator. Do your job. This is something that we have been complaining about for 2 years. You've had an off season. You've had 2 of them to get it right, and you're not doing it. You're not doing it. And us, as fans, who you could care less about the Dolphin, the logo, the franchise, and what it means to all of us, we care more about you than you, and we're sitting over here, and we have to deal with your ineptitude every single crapping week. No, dude, I ate crow for the first how many ever games. No more, dude. The last 2 games have been god-awful, and I don't even blame, to be honest with you, I don't blame the last game that much on Matt, even though there were some stupid calls in that game. This game I really do, and the last game wasn't good either. It wasn't like he did his job right. The last 2 games have been terrible. He called a great game in Cincinnati. That is not his fault that we lost that game. I'm going to give him where credit is due. I'm going to give it to him. But these last 2 games have been terrible. In 2017, it was consistently that bad. The last 2 games we're reverting back to that. A lot of pointing, a lot of confusion, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of busted coverages. That goes back onto you, because I know for a fact that the players that we have in that secondary can get it done. You know how I know that? They led the league in interceptions this entire season. We had the league leader in interceptions. Minkah Fitzpatrick, straight baller. Straight baller, dude. He came out of the womb a crapping great football player, dude. Minkah was born to play defensive back in the National Football League at a high level. That's how good he is. Bobby McCain, really good player. That's 3 really good secondary. Dude, do you know how many teams would chop off their left testicle to have 3 players like that? You know what the Buccaneers would do for that, dude? I don't even want to know what they would do for that. I don't want to know. I so wish we had a Romeo Crennel or a Wade Phillips or some vet defensive coordinator in Miami right now. Seriously. Because we're too talented to play like that, man. And look at what Wade Phillips is dealing with he's got Corey Littleton as his starting middle linebacker. Okay? They were so banged up, and they were still locking people up, dude. And I know they have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, but they weren't getting a lot of sacks, and their run defense was god-awful, but they were still getting off the dang field. I really do blame this on coaching. This particular game, especially. We came out flat-footed. We didn't play with any passion. There's no way on defense that we looked good in practice the entire week. There's just no way, dude. To come out and play like that, dude, we didn't play with any swagger like we have all year. I don't know what happened before this game, but somebody stole our defense. I don't know what happened to the passion that we play with. I don't know if it's because players are, we're really getting hit with that injury bug right now. We're getting hit with that season wall that some teams get hit with. But we're 4-2, man, and that was not a 4-2 defense. And that's been the heart and soul of this team the entire season. Like I said, dude, like, every time we've swung momentum in any of these games, any time of like the game-tipping, game-changing plays have all come from our defense. All the red zone turnovers, all the interceptions Rashad Jones caught, the pick that TJ McDonald caught last week, it's all because of our secondary and our defense, dude. They've played so well the entire season, even though they've had their bumps and bruises here and there. They haven't been perfect, but they turn the ball over, and that's what you're supposed to do as a defense. And you're supposed to keep people out of the red zone, and they've done a pretty decent job of that the entire season. This game, they didn't. Last game, the last 2 games in the New England game have all 3 been god-awful in that department. And even the New England game wasn't even their fault because their offense didn't show up and get off the bus, for God's sakes. They literally had to play the game by themselves. So I'm not even going to blame that one on them. It's so frustrating watching that because I know we're better than that. I know we're better than that, dude. I know we're better than that. And that, to play like that, dude, consistency is legit, dude. That sets the tone, dude, and that's on our coaching staff, man. That's on our coaching staff to coming out playing like that, dude. And I'm pretty sure the Lions had a bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. But I don't care. Playing like that is unacceptable. We're 4-2. We're not 1-5, dude. Okay, and we played like a 1-5 football team as a defense in that particular game. I don't know what happened to our defense. I know I've been ranting about it for 20 minutes, bro. It's honest to God, the way we played in this game, just everybody can understand this, is when your big brother steals maybe your Pokemon game, who knows, it doesn't give it back, and it's, you're trying everything you can to get that stupid thing back, and you just can't do it. Honest to God, dude, our defensive line needs to step up. Our secondary hopefully can continue to at least rebound from this game and continue to play well. Or Matt Burke, I'm gonna kick him so far. He's gonna wrap around the world, dude. He needs to do a better job. He needs to do a better job, dude. He has to. He has talent. It's not like he doesn't have talent, dude. He has the talent to get it done, and he's just not doing it. He's not getting it done. We need to play tighter coverage. We need to play man coverage. And let our front get after it, even though they have been utterly incapable of doing so. And if you want to blitz, put a hat on a hat. That way it's simple, sweet and simple for him, and send some pressure. It just ticks me off, dude. I know we spent, 20 minutes on that one subject. But it's true, man. We were utterly and ridiculously outcoached on defense today. And that's on the head coach too, man. You have to, I mean, if they look like that the entire week in practice, which I don't know for sure. I don't know, but I mean, you can't just show up to a gameplay like that, man. That was they punted once, dude. And it was lucky that they even punted that ball. That was a great play by Kiko. And he was targeting Gold Tate, who was wide open in the flat. And dude, if they turned around and handed it off, they would have easily gotten that first down. We're lucky that their offensive coordinator went full on stupid and did something stupid like that. Alright, let's get into the offense. And again, every time our offense scored and gave the defense a momentum to get the ball back for us to either take the lead when it was 7-10, would they go up 17-7, or even throughout the entire game, really, we couldn't do it as a defense. They literally slapped us around like we were the little brother. They did anything they wanted to us. It was like they had 100 pounds on us in a fight, for God's sakes. It was like it was an unfair advantage. That's how bad it was on defense. And that's coaching, man. That's coaching, and that's crap and disgraceful. We're a 4-2 team, dude. Playing like, and you got our guys playing like that. We get beat mentally like that. Physically, we got beat in the trenches for sure. It's ridiculous, man. All right, man. Let's get into the offense. We're about to get into some hard truths. And to be honest with you guys, I accidentally deleted a huge portion of this podcast. I'm re-recording that defensive segment, so I might have repeated myself a couple times. I hope I didn't. But and also want to say this before we get into the offense: there was a Sweet Life of Zach and Cody reference, and you guys missed it because I accidentally deleted it. So, yeah. And I guarantee you guys will never guess what it was. All right, let's get into the offense. And they actually didn't play bad, in my opinion. Let's get into the rushing offense, because that's, I guess, the most boring. They really didn't, again, our offense really didn't get an opportunity. I mean, they kept swinging it back to the defense. Help us out, defense. Help us out, defense. And they were like, can't do it because we're just taking so many hits to the face, dude. So rushing, Kenny Drake finally scored a long touchdown. His first of the season. He had 6 carries for 72 yards. He averaged 12 on the ground. Frank Gore had 10 carries for 29 yards. Albert Wilson finished with 2 carries for 4 yards. Brock Osweiler had 1 carry for 2 yards. So the running offense was actually not terrible. Early on, it was pretty bad. Anytime we had like any kind of like inside zone run in the shotgun, it pretty much got locked up. You know, anytime we went under center, we had more success, and I think that's probably where we need to stay. Anytime we run power up the middle, or some kind of trap play, or I formation, any kind of stuff like that, we're pretty good at it. For some reason, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe teams are just not as good as defending those kind of runs as they have been in years past. Sorry for the burp. I don't know what the explanation for that is. The run game was inconsistent, but it was there. I felt like it was there. We just didn't get a lot of opportunities because our defense was too busy getting crap just straight up posted up. It was like we had a sticky note, for God's sakes. We just couldn't get it off. Passing, again, here are some hard truths, and this is hard for me to admit. And you guys know this, because I hate hate is a strong word. I just don't like Brock Osweiler's game. I've never liked his game. I always thought he was overrated. You know, never have liked him. I thought David Fales outplayed him in preseason. If you've listened to the podcast long enough, and you listened to the preseason episodes, you would know this. But hard truths, guys, and I have to swallow, because I'm wrong. I have been wrong. Brock Osweiler played a pretty dang good game. Like, he made some throws in this game that I was like, are you serious? He just made that throw. Brock Osweiler made that throw? And I was looking around. I thought I was in a dream, dude. I was like, did he actually make that throw? Brock finished with 22 completions with 31 attempts, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns. Receiving wise, Danny Amendola finished 6 catches for 84 yards. Mike Gesicki finished with 3 catches for 44 yards. Albert Wilson 3 for 32. Jakeem Grant 2 for 32. Dick O'Leary 2 for 23. Kenny Drake 4 for 15. He should have had a lot more receiving yards. He had a lot of drops in this game. He had 2 crucial drops. Kenny Stills had 1 for he had 1 catch for 5 yards. We need more from Kenny, that's for sure. Frank Gore 1 catch for 4 yards. When Frank Gore has 1 less receiving yard than you, and you're supposed to be the best receiver on the team, Albert Wilson is the best receiver on the team. Kenny's the second best, but at least going into the season, he was our best, most consistent receiver. He has 5 catch. We have 1 catch for 5. But again, this is hard truths, and this is something that we're going to get into in the news. But Brock played a very good game. I thought the passing game, the only shortcomings that they had was pass pro. You know, Ricky Jean-Francois, that's a real name in the National Football League. Ricky Jean-Francois. We made him look like Reggie White, dude. Or Jerome Brown. We could not block him. And it was all, literally every sack he had was off of play action. And Jesse Davis just got he got dominated. And Jesse Davis, ever since he's been here, been a very good pass protector. You know, very good actually. And I don't think I've ever seen him have a worse game in pass pro, because usually he's pretty solid. This defensive line without Ziggy Ansah, they got too many sacks, dude. They got way too many sacks because their D-line is so not talented. So not talented. And Matt Patricia's got them playing, you know, I mean, it was against us, dude, but I expect way more out of our offensive line. You know, Juwan James continues to have his worst season of his career, in my opinion. You know, he gave up, I think, 2 sacks to the same guy. And I can't even remember his name. Dude, it literally was the no-name defense out there. And we couldn't block them, dude. And that was really the only problem I had with the pass, you know, the offense as a whole. But there was a call you know, in terms of play calling, I thought it was really good all day. There was one call that I hated. That was that 3rd and 10 run. I think Brock actually audible to it, so I don't know. That's not on Adam. It looked like Brock changed the play at the line of scrimmage and just ran in on 3rd and 10. It's like, well, what are we doing? Especially since how our defense was playing up to that point. That was such a stupid call. I don't know who to blame for that. I'm pretty sure Brock audibled. Speaking of Brock, I got sidetracked, and again, we're in hard truths mode right now, and I'm not getting to the hard truths. I keep bringing it up, but I'm not getting to them. I really do feel like Brock deserves to play one more game before we decide. I'm not a dude. I still don't think Tannehill's healthy, and if he is, I do think Tannehill should play. I think he's the way better player. But Brock played a really good. I'm not even joking around. Brock, and this is hard truths. I'm trying to get into my safe spot, and it's very hard for me to say this right now, but because I don't want to say it and I don't believe it. I really do think I'm tricking myself right now. But Brock, he made some amazing throws in this game. The touchdown to Danny Amendola, that was a franchise quarterback throw, and I can't believe I'm saying this about Brock Osweiler. The corner route touchdown, even though the play before he had a wide open touchdown, and the problem I have with him, he doesn't keep his eyes downfield long enough. He goes through his progressions, and sometimes he doesn't go through his progressions. He just kind of stares people down in the flat sometimes. It's very annoying. Or he goes through his progressions way too quick, I feel like. I think he makes his decision too quickly at times, and sometimes that's a good thing because he gets the ball out of his hands. He doesn't take unnecessary sacks. Sometimes doesn't make stupid decisions with the football. It doesn't put himself in bad situations. So it can be a good thing, but at times, man, he just needs to hold on to that ball and find someone open downfield. And I think Tannehill does that better than he does. Obviously, he has a better arm, but Brock had he actually should have had a way better game. Kenny Stills dropped a touchdown, put it right on him, and it just went. Kenny couldn't catch the ball. That's something Kenny has struggled with since he's been here. But like I said, man, that was a beautiful corner route throw. Literally, that was tremendous ball placement. That was a beautiful throw. The throw to Danny Amendola was great. Kenny dropped that one touchdown. Kenyon dropped a touchdown as well, even though I think he ended up scoring a touchdown on that play anyway. I think Kenyon rushed for a touchdown on that play, but I really did feel like Brock played a really good game this game. I don't think he made too many mistakes. I don't think he made really any mistakes, to be honest with you, other than the misread, but he made up for it on the next play. And he's done that a couple times in the Bears game. He missed Jakeem Grant for a touchdown, ended up throwing the ball away. I think we settled for a field goal on that drive. He's made a couple mistakes like that, but because again, he's so conservative at times, man. He just needs to let that ball rip sometimes, dude. I feel like like I said, he goes through his progressions way too quickly. And I think that's why you see him check it down so dang much. He's captain check down. And that's the only problem I really have with his game. I wish he was just a little bit more aggressive. But so far from what I've seen. Now, the problem I've had with Brock Osweiler in the past, he's had some really dumb turnovers in his career. He's just not he has not been a very good quarterback throughout his entire career. But since anytime he's in an Adam Gase offense or system, obviously Gase hasn't called a game for him until he's been here in Miami, but he has played in this offense without Gase being there. He's played his best football. And in this game, he probably had his best game I've ever seen him play. I'm not even joking around. I know he had a career high last year, but he made some throws in this game, dude, that were ridiculously good. And I felt like he did no wrong in this game. He was one of the bright spots of the offense. He made plays when they weren't there. He was a playmaker at times in this game. And again, he made some good throws. And the thing that I've been, harping on with him is he just doesn't drive the ball enough on deep balls. But in this game, he has a really high arcing deep ball. It's up in the air way too long in my opinion. But it still hit Kenny Stills in the hands. He couldn't come down with it. I don't know, I'm being a chatty Cathy right now, not really finishing what I'm trying to say. I do feel like if, let's say, Tannehill doesn't have to go in the next game, which hopefully he does, I still think Tannehill's a better player. I don't mind seeing Brock play another game because of how well he has been playing. If he can I really do feel like he should have had a 3 touchdown game in this game. And to be honest, we would have won this game if the defense showed up. I'm not even joking around. I think this would have been an easy win for us. But I mean, injuries really hurt us. Albert obviously going down, which we're about to talk about here in just a second. But again, I thought Brock had one of his best games of his career, if not his best game of his career, passing the football. I mean, he made some big boy throws. And yeah, I hope he can continue to keep it up, especially since we have to play a very good Texans pass rush this upcoming game. Hopefully, he can share some things with Bill O'Brien's defense or offense, even though it's a very complicated offense as well. But we'll see. So let's get into the news. Let's start with the saddest news of the day. Albert Wilson. This comes from Bleacher Report. Albert Wilson suffered significant possible season-ending hip injury versus the Detroit Lions. The Miami Dolphins lost more than just a game when it dropped Sunday's contest to the Detroit Lions 32-21, according to Cameron Wolf of ESPN. Wide receiver Albert Wilson's agent Drew Rosenhaus said on WSVN that his client suffered a, quote, significant hip injury against the Lions and could miss the rest of the 2018 season. He's not a doctor, so I don't know. Who knows? He had 3 catches for 32 yards before exiting the game. Wilson has 26 catches for 391 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season and appeared to be hitting his stride in last week's game when he tallied 6 catches for 155 yards and 2 scores over the Chicago Bears. The timing of his injury is less than ideal for Miami beyond Wilson's own breakout, showing as wide receiver Devontae Parker has played just 2 games this season and was inactive against Sunday's contest. Yeah, this is a huge blow because he literally won us the game against Chicago. Seriously, if it wasn't for number 15, we would not even come close to winning that game. We would have probably gotten beaten by 2 scores. So, this sucks, dude, because it sucks so bad, man. We're getting hit with the injury bug hard, so hard. To miss him for, even if he doesn't come back, if he does come back this season, he's not coming back for probably December, maybe. So, this sucks. And when I watched the injury, obviously, I didn't think it was his hip, that's for sure. I thought he tore his ACL or something. I thought he tore a ligament in his knee because of the way he was trying to stop and start. And I thought he was going to score on that play because he had so much open field, but it's a sucky, unfortunate play, dude. This is the next news story. Devontae Parker. The trade rumors continue to swirl and build up. Devontae Parker is MIA in Miami and not on his own accord. The Miami Dolphins receiver has been, this is from NFL.com, this story is, Parker's agent wide receiver is healthy and calls Adam Gase, quote, incompetent. That's from Devontae Parker's agent. Devontae Parker is Miami, okay, we don't have to read that again, I'm an idiot. The Miami Dolphins receiver has been sidelined by a quad injury for much of this season and has been held out of all but 2 games, while new acquisition Albert Wilson and Danny Amendola pace defends in receiving in the post-Jarvis Landry era. With Parker mostly phased out of Miami's offensive game plan, trade talks around the receiver have started to build. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, or I can't remember his name, reported the weekend the Dolphins are shopping Parker ahead of the October 30th trade deadline and want at least a 3rd-round pick in exchange for his services. Several teams have already contacted the Dolphins about Parker. Let's see here. I'm trying to get to his agent's quote because it's so stupid. Let's see here. Okay, so here we go. NFL Network Ian Rappaport said, quote, I am responding that Gase is not telling the truth, and his decision was an example of poor management and cost the team the best opportunity to win. This is from Devontae Parker's agent. He continues to attacking the health of my client, and this is not acceptable. Parker is not only healthy, but he wants to help the team win. And the only real reason that he should be asked is how Coach Gase justifies his own incompetence. They averaged only 6.1 yards per catch against Detroit. They needed Parker, who is completely healthy and was in full participation all week in warm-ups this morning. I don't know. I don't believe that. For one, I don't think DP is healthy. The limited time he did play against the Bears, he did not look full speed. When he ran that go route, even though it was a terrible throw, he didn't look healthy, and it wasn't a great route, and he just didn't look like DP. I do think there is some truth to what he is saying, though. If Devontae Parker lived up to any expectation, that he would be out there on the field right now. The reason he isn't is his own fault, and I don't think it's Adam Gase's fault at all, because he hasn't showed Adam since he's been here that he is what he thought he was, and that we all thought he could be. He hasn't shown that. That is on Devontae Parker. That is not on anybody else but himself. He has done nothing else but prove to us that he isn't that number one receiver that we thought he would be. That is on him. That is not on anybody but him. And I think it's utterly ridiculous to be blaming that on Adam. He's not playing, and what he said in the press conference, whether DP is healthy or not, I don't care. Adam said, he basically said the other receivers are rolling. He's saying all the other guys are playing better than you, which they are. They are playing better than DP. And the reason we lost Sunday's game was because of our defense. It had nothing to do with our offense. What did he say? We were averaging 6 yards a catch? Dude, if we were okay, first of all, 12 yards, 2 catches. That's a first down. Right? Now, they're all short routes. Yeah, that's the offense. Our offense is built off run after the catch in manageable third down situations. We still do take shots down the field. I just could not disagree more with that. That's so stupid, dude. The reason DP's not playing, regardless if he's healthy or not, is because he hasn't played well when he's had his opportunities, dude. Since he's been here. He hasn't been consistent since he's been here. That's on him. I'm not going to I don't think anybody in Miami or any Miami fan would defend him right now, because everything that is happening to Devontae Parker is nobody else's fault but his. And I don't think anybody would argue that right now. And to imply that, okay, if he is healthy, like I just said, and what Adam said after the game, everybody else in front of him is better than he is right now. That is why he's not playing. Adam should just come out and say it. He's not good. Just say it. Just say that, and there wouldn't be this controversy. If Adam just came out and said, yeah, he's not playing well, that's why he's not playing, the GM would have no room to talk. Even though we all know that's why, and we know that's what it is. He's not playing well. Stop dancing around it. I don't know if we're going to be able to get... Well, we'll get into this next news story. I've been ranting way too long, dude. We have, 42? Yeah, we got time. Definitely, because I'm probably going to rant about this. This next news story comes from the Miami Herald and Armando Salguero himself. Adam Gase insists Ryan Tannehill is the Dolphins starter when he is healthy. So this is comparing Ryan Tannehill and Osweiler. Osweiler put together another solid game in the Dolphins' 32-21 loss to Lions Sunday, completing 22 of 31 passes for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns. And these were no empty stats. His 24-yard scoring strike to Danny Amendola was as good as it gets. Yeah, I mean, this is basically what I've been saying. I mean, he played very well. Not only that, but that corner route in the back of the end zone, that was a beautiful ball, dude. I don't think people understand how hard that is to score. And again, he went through his entire progression on that play. He stayed cool into the pocket. He made a tough throw for a touchdown, and it's so hard to score in the red zone in those situations. You know, he's missed reads here and there in the red zone. That's something he'll get better at if he continues to practice with the team, however long Tannehill is out. But he made some beautiful throws in that game, dude, and I'm not even going to lie. Because he played very well. He played a very good football game. He is nowhere near the reason why we lost that game. It's unfortunate that we wasted a really good performance by a quarterback. And if we gave him more opportunities, if our defense made a punt, got a turnover, he would have killed the Lions. Especially since he was playing at a very high level in that game. And again, I've never liked Brock at all, and I don't know if he can consistently stay at that level, but I think the argument to be made for that, if he can consistently play at that level, is anytime he has been in Adam Gase's offense, he's played at a pretty high level, and that's the reason he got that almost $100 million contract from the Texans, is because of his performance in that offense. So, there you go. And he had talented people around him until all these injuries started piling up. I didn't really rant about that. And the big topic of this week is just Matt Burke. Why? That's the big topic of the week, and we're not even going to talk about it anymore. because we ranted about it for 20 minutes. Why, Matt Burke? Making me so upset. And I know that we don't usually do the podcast this early, and there's probably not going to be a lot of questions. We only had 12 questions, and I'm sure there are some people that wanted to ask questions that didn't get an opportunity to. I'm sorry. We played a Thursday night game. I figured I had to get this out as quickly as possible. I had the opportunity to do that, so I figured I would go ahead and do it. So I apologize to anybody who didn't get the opportunity to get their fan questions in. You will 1000% be able to do that after Thursday night's game. Alright, let's get into the fan Q&A. This is where fans ask questions, and you get it. It's called the fan Q&A. If you want to be a part of it, if you're new here, if you made it 48 minutes, almost an hour into this podcast, listening to my terrible voice, God bless you, sir. Please at least hit the sub button or go check out the channel and support the content any way you possibly can. This first question comes from TR3MC. He says, because of our good-looking fourth quarter comeback attempt, is it possible our coaching is playing on conservative and holding back our offensive potential? No, we just didn't. I mean, we couldn't. Our defense just didn't give us anything on the day at all. Like, again, we only forced one punt. Anytime we cut it to a one-score game, or if we got the ball back and either we could tie it with a field goal or a touchdown, or tie it with a touchdown, they just went out and scored another touchdown or scored even more points. And these were not fast drives, dude. These were grinded out, pound the rock drives. So, yeah. Unfortunately, our defense just didn't do us any favors in this game. Like I said, our offense would get momentum back. We would bounce it back to the defense. We couldn't complement the offense. There were so many things that, anyway. Next question comes from Corporate Gamer. It says, how do we stop Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins? D-Hop's gonna make his plays. He's literally made his plays all year on every corner. I mean, Jalen Ramsey got toasted against him this past game. So I would just put X on first D-Hop, obviously. I'd probably put, I guess, Bobby on Will. I don't know if I haven't watched enough Texans games to know where Will lines up the most. But if he lines up in the slot, which I don't think he does, I can't remember who. Bruce Ellington. Who's their slot receiver, dude? I can't remember. I think it's Ellington. I can't remember, but yeah. How do we stop them? We just have to play tight coverage, and hopefully our pass rush. I mean, we're going up against probably the worst offensive line we've played so far this season. So hopefully we have some kind of penetration in this particular game. This next question comes from Corporate Gamer. He says, Dante Foreman comes back on Thursday for Houston. How will we try to stop him? Our D line their offensive line is not very good, so hopefully we can stop him that way. Corporate Gamer says, do you think we for sure need Tannehill back? Need is a strong word. I would concede that. I don't think we need him back. I think Brock's playing very well, playing at a high level actually, especially after last game. If he can continue to play at that level and not turn the ball over, then we don't need Tannehill back. But I still think Tannehill gives us a better chance to win on Sunday. This next question comes from Jack Pack. He says, out, and I'm talking about that Brock Osweiler over these last two games, really 1.5 game. Jack Pack 18, and again, Albert Wilson won us that game, so not even really that game. This next question comes from Jack Pack. I keep ranting. With Albert Wilson injured and Parker on the trade block, always inactive, do you think we will see Isaiah Ford or Rashawn Scott from the practice squad? I like what I saw from Ford in the preseason. I didn't. He had a couple of big plays and then just fell off the plane of the earth. Fell off the earth, I felt like. I didn't feel like he was consistent enough, which kind of disappointed me. Ron says, do you think it's time to draft a productive defensive end? We seem to rely solely on Cameron Wake. Nick Bosa or bust, please. Nick Bosa's dude. He is the real deal. He might be better than his brother, and I'm not even joking. He is the real deal. I hope we don't even sniff that pick, because that means we're going to be picking in the top 5, and he's going to go in the top 3, if not number 1 overall. Nick Bosa is so good. Ron says, I believe it's time to move on from Raekwon McMillan this draft. We have to find a linebacker that can actually make a tackle and is able to get off blocks. Yeah, no, I feel like he's playing well. I just, the people that he's up front, I mean, it's not helping him too much. Let's put it that way. I mean, nobody's getting penetration up front. And then, I mean, when you got guards kicking out to the second level and just destroying you on a consistent basis, nobody's getting penetration in the backfield. Holes are not opening up for him to make tackles through. And I get it. You got to shed blocks, make tackles as a middle linebacker or any kind of linebacker in the National Football League. I'm not making excuses for him, but I'm not. From what I have seen from Raekwon, I am not disappointed, and he is by far the last reason why we lost this game. Our D-line needs to step up. Jeremy State, and I just disagree with you on. He's young. I mean, this is his first season. He's had good games. I like Raekwon. Jeremy Stacy says this was a tough game. He said this was a tough game to watch. We should not have lost this game. Question: our defense has given up 60 points in the last 2 games. What does Matt Burke have to do to fix this? Stop playing. He's got to put a hat on a hat. There's been too many busted coverages. There's been too many miscommunications. Watch the last 2 games and watch how much pointing, how many people are just running wide open. That happened. Mitchell Trubisky had a very bad game, dude. If it wasn't for him having such a bad game, we would have given up way more points. And we still gave up a lot of points. There've been way too many busted coverages the last few weeks. We just have to put a hat on a hat and make it as simple as possible. I think that is how you fix it. That doesn't make. I mean, like I said earlier in the podcast, that doesn't mean you're playing simple football. You can still make stunts on the defensive line and stuff like that. You can still do creative looks. Just because you're playing man coverage doesn't mean it can't be creative in any way. But I definitely think we got to play primarily man, if not the entire game. Ron said, trade Devontae Parker to the Raiders for Amari Cooper. Yes, your thoughts? In a perfect world, yes, I would do that in a heartbeat. But there's not a chance they would do that. Ron, is anyone else tired of hearing head coach Gase say after games, we let a few drives get away from us. We got some penalties to get behind the sticks. Lions got a few third down and longs. They converted them. We have to find a way to convert a third down. And Gase seems unable to do so. I don't remember him saying. He probably did say that. I did watch the press conference, but the first thing that came out of his mouth is we couldn't stop him. I think that is the reason we lost this game. I felt like the offense played well when they had their opportunities. I didn't think they played terrible. Our defense was just not doing them any favors. Like I said, they cut the lead to a 1-possession game multiple times in this game. They literally just went down and scored again. We couldn't do anything on defense. This question comes from Thomas. He says, how do you feel about Mike's lack of performance this season at the tight end position? He looked pretty good this game. He had 44 yards on 3 catches. He had that big catch in the seam. I think we're going to continue to see improvement. The reason he's not playing as much is because the running game is really the backbone of this offense right now, and Nick O'Leary is just so much better than him at run blocking at this particular time. So that's why he's not getting as much playing time, because he's not an all-around tight end yet. But we do need to line him up, put Nick and him at the same time. Line him up out wide in the slot or something like that. We need to do more of that. J.R. Shelton says, Are you going, or did you see the new Halloween movie? Only reason why I'm asking, I think the fan Q&A just shouldn't be about football. Are you going, or did you see the new Halloween movie? I've always hated, this is such a stupid, I don't even know why I'm answering this question. Everybody's like, shut up. Nobody wants to listen to this, but I don't like horror movies. I always think the premise is stupid. Unless it's a monster movie or a sci-fi movie. I always think the premise is stupid. And I thought, the way people act in horror movies is stupid. And I just don't like horror movies. Just because I think they're stupid. So I was going to go see Halloween. And then I saw some reviews. And they were very mixed. And I was like, oh, that's disappointing. Because it looked like a thriller. Not just a horror movie, but it looked like a thriller psychological thriller. Maybe there was a little mystery in there. Maybe we get a good twist at the end. There's actually some substance to it, but apparently not, from what I'm hearing. So I'm not gonna go see it. God, I cannot believe I just answered that question on this podcast. But yeah, there you go. Let me see. What am I saying? This was a super disappointing game, especially on defense. I feel like we were ill prepared on defense, especially offensively. They execute, or the defense for the Lions. Clearly, they wanted to load the box up on rundowns, and they made tackling a very, very high priority in this game. And they executed well. But overall, it was just super disappointing, and it was disgusting to watch our defense play like that, and play with zero energy and zero enthusiasm, zero swagger. It's very disappointing, and I do blame that on the coaching staff, man. That was just so bad on them. You got to recognize your shortcomings and correct those mistakes. And again, he's had 2 years and 2 off seasons to realize that. And again, like I said, they don't execute it well, but you also have not been able to teach them your scheme and your values as a defensive coordinator. So they do execute that well. They do communicate it. They do know where to line up. They do know what hey, if they do this, what am I going to do? But every time somebody motions something, it's like the little end of the world. And that is on Matt Burke as a teacher, because coaching is teaching, and he cannot teach these people how to execute his scheme at a high level. So that is what it is. Put a hat on a hat, run some man coverage, mix up some looks. Like I said, the best defense that I think we've ran all season is that cover one robber, where we drop Rashad Jones, and we've messed it up a couple times. I'm not saying we were perfect, but there've been some miscommunications here or there. But that's fine. I mean, it's way less than when we run zone, when we're giving up touchdowns wide open down the middle of the field. I mean, go back and watch that Bears game, dude. It could have gotten ugly. We're lucky that Trubisky didn't, light it up. But he still did light it up. But you know what I'm saying. And again, we couldn't get any pressure on up front this entire season. We haven't been able to get consistent pressure. And what Andre Branch said, and I'm gonna leave the podcast with this. Talk about how he literally said this. He's like, we do our job, we're getting pressures. They're just getting the ball out quick. Did you play the same game? Yeah, they threw a lot of screens, the Bears did. The Lions, they got the ball out quick because there was a lot of busted coverages. But in that Bears game, you guys had plenty of opportunities to sack the quarterback. The secondary, there were times where Trubisky was back there, snorting coke, for God's sakes. He had time to buy it from the dealer, drive back to the pocket, and snort it. And then throw the football. So, it's honestly ridiculous. So to actually be that delusional and say you're doing your job is ridiculous. They haven't been doing their job this entire season. You know how disappointing Robert Quinn has been? So disappointing. Andre Branch, fine, it is what it is. But Robert Quinn, I really thought was going to have a big year. And so far. And again, there's a lot of football left to be played. But he has not played well. So that's going to be it, guys. I am Skaggs, 1383. Sucks, dude. It really does suck. But hopefully we can bounce back on Thursday Night Football. Brock continues to play well, because he played at a very... I'm not joking around when I say he played at a very high level in this game. And hopefully we continue to see more of that from him. I am Skaggs 83, and I will see you guys in the next one.